Hi everyone, it's Carolyn. I'm known as the Contest Queen, and this is your Good Vibes Chat. And this month's topic is angels and guides. So remember, all the resources that I discussed today will be posted in the video description after I edit all the details, and they will also be added to the YouTube video when I download it and put it over there. So let's talk angels and guides. I love this topic because I am not actually an angel reader. I'm not a channeler. I'm not an intuitive in that sense. I'm not psychic. I'm not a medium. I don't do any of that stuff. What I do well is I seem to do very well when it comes to anything to do with business. So, for example, if you start talking to me about, hey, I have this marketing idea, I'm not sure, I instantly get ideas. I call them downloads. Some of the channelers talk about that. I just kind of know what to do. I can almost see it in my head. And I have my inner guidance, which everybody has, and that little voice is the one you should always listen to. But today we're going to talk about angels and guides. And what spawned me onto this topic was I saw a video on Inspire Nation with Kyle Gray, and I hadn't ever really seen anything. I knew who he was. I knew he had cards. I knew he had books. I knew he was an angel communicator, but I'd never seen him speak. And he was so fascinating. I remember everything I talk about, I will be putting the links. And I loved it. And so I thought, I've got to talk about this from a perspective of someone that doesn't really, have any kind of, I'll say, talent in that area. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about the books that I got introduced to. This book, I don't even know how old this book is. I've had it for eons. I don't know if I bought it new or I found it at a secondhand store or something. But one of the things, let me see if I can find the date on this book. Yeah, this is 1992. So this isn't new, and I have never followed these guys on Facebook or YouTube or anything to see if they're posting anything. So I don't know. But the idea is that there are different entities. You can't lump them all together. Just like, we're all different. There's different types of guides. And so angels seem to be completely separate, from my understanding, from spirit guides. And I've been told by different people that, and they've described them different, and they describe them different in the books. So I haven't read this in years, but I loved it. And I think I really need to review the whole thing, but I'm so busy with so many other things. This book I gobbled up. This is Sonia Kochet, and she is amazing. She also wrote Trust Your Vibes, which is the inner voice that I'm talking about. But she has Ask Your Guides, and I loved this book. She's very good. I do follow her on social media, and you can go listen to podcasts and videos with her. I saw her live in 2007 at a Hay House event, because when you bought your ticket, there was some breakout sessions. So there was some that were all day, and that everybody sat in the auditorium for that. And then there was some that were breakout sessions, and you had your choice of this speaker or this speaker. And she was one of the speakers, so I went and listened to her in person, and she was fantastic. Of course, we have Helene. I don't know if you guys know this, because, we're in the Good Vibes Chat in the Good Vibration Sweepstakes Club, because we're all about winning sweepstakes, and Helene wrote a book on sweepstakes, but this is actually the book she was destined to write, and she talked to her guides. She even saw some of them. So she had a painting on her original book of the messenger that she saw one day, and I asked her son if I could have the painting, and he hadn't seen it in years, and then he messaged me one day and says, "Oh, I know why we never saw it. She painted over it." Aline. So no, I can never recreate that cover if I found the original. And then what I've been doing with my Amazon dollars, sometimes I win Amazon cards or I earn Amazon money from my books. I save it, and then when they have these smashing good deals on Kindle editions of books, sometimes they'll do like $1.99 or 99 cents or $2.50 or something really cheap. I just go and I use my Amazon dollars. Now, this is my iPad. My Kindle actually is dying. I'm very sad. I'm waiting for the sales or winning one. But if I don't win one before Black Friday, I'm just going to get one on the sales when they have them. And I'll replace my Kindle. But did you know you don't have to have a Kindle to read Kindle books? You can use the app on your phone or on your iPad or probably other tablet. And so I recently got on a smoking deal. I think I posted it in the group. Kyle Gray, he did his Angels Numbers cards. And it's all about the message behind the sequencing. So if you see like 1111 all the time. Okay, so let me see if I can find that. Oh yeah, he's written a ton of stuff. Look at all the books and things. You can't see that on the screen. Oh, see, that's the problem with electronics. You can't. But he's written 6 books, 3 audiobooks, and 3 decks of cards, which we will talk about in a minute. And he has some online courses. But for example, let's see the 111. Right, so if you see 111, just 3 ones, it says, "You are one with all that is. Know that you are doing and giving is for the world and all that what does that say? And all the beings in it." So that's what he says for there. And let's see if I can find the 1111. I think that's the clock one he talks about. Oh, see, when you don't jump, it doesn't allow you to jump. There's a way to go back. So yeah, so if you see times, they're showing in times for the clock, right? Triple numbers, quadruple numbers. So the 1111 is you are one with God, angels, and ascended masters. So yeah, there's lots of different. Align your thoughts with the highest goodness and truth in order to bring love into the world. So it's kind of cool. So if I post those, and usually those Kindle deals, if I post them in the group, they're only for one day. So you literally have to go and just grab it while you can when the deal is right there. There's only a few of us here. And if you have had any experience with angels or guides yourself, it would be kind of cool to hear from you. So I have a couple of decks of cards here. I don't have a lot of card decks. I wouldn't mind getting some more. But this is an old one that was gifted to me from a friend, and it's from Doreen Virtue. Some people aren't really a fan of Doreen anymore because she's gone through a couple of incarnations herself, and at one point she was an angel reader, and I saw her live, and she was amazing. And then she kind of, I don't know, she got a divorce, she met this guy, then she denounced everything. She said everything that she said and taught wasn't of God, and she kind of just turned everybody off her. So I used to have her fairies book. about talking to the fairies. Oh, I should have brought them over. I have fairy bells. I forgot. I guess I wasn't considering them a guide when I was putting out all my resources. I have fairy bells. So there used to be a Doreen Virtue fairy book, and I had an angel book. So the yeah, I don't have them anymore because I ended up not keeping them because they weren't mine originally. They used to belong to my ex, and then Doreen went off on this crazy change, and so I don't know. I didn't get, but there was something about the angel cards. I couldn't get rid of the angel cards. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shuffle them like I see all the readers do, and I'm gonna shuffle them, and I'm gonna pull a card for the reading. I'm gonna see. So it's kind of interesting because I haven't done this. Now, if you have cards for yourself, you're supposed to leave them for yourself. You're not supposed to let others touch your cards. So sometimes people that do readings on a regular basis, now I'm not professing to be a card reader. This is what I just do for myself. And if you have cards, you can do them for yourself. But some people will have a card deck they'll use for readings as the reader. And then they'll have, if they want someone to do the cards, they will have a separate deck. So they'll have one for their own personal use and one they use to use readings. So energies don't mix. So I think I did a pretty good shuffle, and then I like to bang on the cards, kind of send the energy through, and then I cut the deck. This is my own personal way to do it. And I flipped it over, and so the reading I got for this one is patience. Oh, I can just hear my father now. When I was little, he'd always tell me, have patience, have patience. I was so impatient. It says, now's the time to learn, study, and gather information. Enjoy being a student because in the future, you will synthesize all your knowledge into action. Now, most card decks that you buy, and there's all kinds of them, and Hay House sometimes has half-price specials. And I have a deck. I didn't bring it up here because it was an archetype card. So it wasn't really well, I guess an archetype is a guide. An archetype is within you. But I wouldn't consider them a guide in that sense, so I didn't bring it. So there's all kinds of different decks. It's really cool. And I just bought a Kindle book on tarot, learning how to read tarot, which I think would be fun. Because again, it was $1.99. Okay, so patience. Now, what happens when you buy these card decks is they come with a set of cards, usually beautifully drawn. Different artists have them. And then they always have a little book that gives you additional information. So this one says, oh, and also at the beginning, a lot of them will give a little bit of information about the decks. And then here there's different ways to do what they call spreads. So you can connect. And you know what? I'm really embarrassed. We should have done the prayers first, but we'll do it after this. Because I had them before, I had the prayers before the cards, and I jumped straight to the cards. I'm not following my own outline. Silly me. Although you may be aching to begin a new project, now is not the time. You're in the phase of gathering right now. Well, I sure am, because I'm gathering all the information for my next book. This means that you're acquiring new information through studying, reading, meditating, channeling, taking classes, interviewing experts, and other means. And this is a group one, so this is for everybody here. In all of life, there's time for gathering and time for planting. It is too soon for you to decide on how to use the new information that you're absorbing. You may have some ideas, though it may be wise to write them down for future use. That's a good reason to journal, by the way. Helene used to keep a pad of paper and a pen by her bedside, so if she woke up in the middle of the night with an idea or inspiration or a dream, she would jot it all down. And sometimes she said she would wake up and it would be weird. She would write down weird stuff, but she would always write it down because at some point it would always make sense. Soon enough, you'll be called into the action to apply your knowledge in useful ways. When that happens, you'll be very busy and working very hard. So enjoy the present moments of ambiguity and rest. Allow yourself to be an empty vessel into which heaven pours the contents of its library of wisdom. Ooh, doesn't that feel good, just the sound of that? Your unique talents will blend with this wisdom and synthesize it into a new and important way to bring peace to this planet. Well, that sounds good. I love doing that. And I have another deck. We'll do another one after, but let's do the prayers that Kyle. So what I did was, after I saw the Inspire Nation video with Kyle, I went and looked, and there was 3 prayers that he likes to say all the time. So I wrote them down and I posted them in the group. I don't know if you saw them. I printed them out here. These are actually images from his cards, and I just put his prayers on them. I, of course, would give him credit for the prayers. I wouldn't take that. Oh, a little green tea. So the first thing he says every day, before he does a meditation or before he does a card reading, he says, "Thank you, angels, for revealing to me what I need to know." And he said that's important because what we need to know might not necessarily be what we want to know. So what we need to know will always be for our highest good. The other thing is he will say in the day, "Thank you, angels, for reminding me of your presence." And that's important because it's nice to know that sometimes during the day, if you're having a bad day or something's off, that there's always guides there. Robert Ohado told this story during one of his workshops within his membership. Was it in his membership or was it? I think it was in Power and Powerlessness in his membership. And he talked about when his aunt was very ill. She was going in for surgery, and she's very religious. And his mother went with her, and they had the local pastor or minister, I don't know what they call them in her church, there with his wife, and they came to pray. And it was feeling very profound. And so the aunt opened her eyes, and during the prayer, and she looked up, and they were surrounded by huge beings praying down on them, lots of light, and everybody, she said it was very profound. And apparently his mom had also opened her eyes, and she could see into the hallway because of the glass, and everybody was moving extremely slowly, like in a movie set. You know, you see in a movie where everyone's moving slow. And she could see some of the beings beside, like she couldn't really see them because her head was down a bit, but she could see the beings big. And then they finished the prayer, and they told the minister after that, and he said, "Oh, yeah, those are the angels." And he said everyone was moving slow because you were in God's time, which I thought, wow, it's a pretty cool story. So they're all around us all the time. And there's lots of movies made of angels. I mean, Michael was highly irreverent with John Travolta as the angel. I mean, we're watching Lucifer right now, which is kind of funny on Netflix. Really irreverent. I mean, angel in media aren't new. But this is the one that I really like. This is the prayer that Kyle does that I really like. It says, "Thank you, angels, for showing me how I can live a life of service in a way that also serves me, my joy, and my happiness." And sometimes he throws on the words, "and my bank account." He's not doing too bad, that young man. But it was his destiny to do that. And it's really important to say it the way it is, because it says, "Live a life of service in a way that also serves me." Right? So it's benefiting you, and it's kind of, to me, it always equates to what they tell you with the airplane, right? You have to put on your mask before you can help others. So and I know he jokes about the bank account, but also that is in a way serving you, because if you're not resourced, you can't help others. You know, for me to have a website or to print books or to do any of that stuff, it costs me money. You know, I'm a business owner. If I'm mailing books out, that costs me money for the book and the postage and the envelope and the labels and the toner, and I had to buy a printer, and I got to have a computer, and you know, I need to be resourced in order to continue this work. So it, you know, people think, oh, you know, it's spiritual. It should be free. Well, no, it shouldn't be free. The person doing all the creation needs to be resourced so that they can continue to that work and offer you their expertise. Now, this I love. This was also Doreen Virtue, but it's the Goddess deck. For some reason, I always love this deck. So I have 2 of her decks, but you know, I'm waiting for the next sale, and I really want to get one of Kyle's decks. He has the most beautiful angels on his. And I used to have one from Colette Baron Reed. She has a lot of decks, like a lot of decks, very cool decks of cards. And so I'm going to do another one from the Goddess cards and see which goddess is guiding us on this journey today. I just think this is kind of fun to do this stuff. So now these cards aren't as thick. These ones are thinner and they're gold on the sides. We got this one. This is Onog. Easy does it. There's no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. Oh, I love that. So again, the books have a description. They give you little things like, for example, if a card jumps out at you while you're shuffling, place the jumping cards face up next to your card spread. Jumping cards contain additional information for your reading, so take their message into consideration. An upside down card could be a blockage or an area that needs addressing or healing. Everyone has blocks, so it's nothing to be afraid of or ashamed about it. It simply gives insight into life areas that could use extra attention. Colette talks about that. So let's talk about here. Unog. There's no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. Nurturing a cause or relationship is a long-term commitment and one that can't be rushed. This level of development comes from a place of deep loving and concern. I care what happens to my planet and to my loved ones so much that I'm willing to stick with them through thick and thin. This isn't always easy, but to me it's the only way to ensure that all matters are resolved and healed. I listen to passionate stirrings of my heart, and I reach out and take action to let my loved ones know that I deeply care about them. I take action to spur on my pet causes. Never mind what other people think. You will benefit by carrying through with your priorities. You'll feel so good about yourself if you take time for the relationships and projects that truly count in your heart. Do what's important to you and do it with absolute devotion. But remember that there's no competition for your true life's purpose, so no need to worry, hurry, or feel that you have to force things to happen. Various meanings of the card. Don't worry about your purpose or your goals. Make no sudden moves. Slow and steady progress is best right now. Ease into your new life instead of rushing into it. Do your new work as a part-time adventure to begin with while slowly exiting your old career. And about Una. Oh, it's pronounced Una, so they have the pronunciation. The Celtic goddess Una is married to Finbar, the leader of the Irish Tuatha Dé Danann. Una and her clan were some of the original inhabitants of Ireland when the Gaels invaded their land, and the Tuathas didn't run or fight back. Instead, they transformed themselves into leprechauns. Their indigenous solution, of course it's in the Good Vibes chat. The land of the lucky. And their ingenious solution allowed them to stay in Ireland in peace. Call upon Una for help with your own transitions, and she'll guide you in creative and magical ways. That's so funny, the Good Vibes chat. Of course we got Una. she's I guess the mother of all leprechauns. That's very funny. So I wanted just to show you some of the stuff. Now, these are literally a sampling of what I have. These are some of the books I have. There are so many resources to help you with your guides, your angels, you name it, it's out there. Just do some and I think it's actually increased since we had the pandemic in 2020, because all these people that had these talents and were doing them in the past and weren't really doing them full time or pursuing them because they had the time, they started up a YouTube channel, they started a Facebook page, they started a group, they started, so there's so many resources. I mean, if you just go and Google angel readings or guides or books, you will just get a ridiculous amount of stuff. My suggestion is you follow Hay House. I think they're one of my favorite resources. They also have Hay House Audio, I think, or is it Hay House Radio? And because I haven't listened to it in a while, because I'm so busy with other things, I tend to listen a lot to Castbox, or I need to catch up on Robert Ohado is my client, and we just talked about him doing You Can Do Magic 2.0, but everybody in that has to have had done You Can Do Magic the first one, and I haven't done it yet, so I think I need to do that. And it was a weekend workshop that he turned into an online course, so I have a lot of video to review. So I haven't been doing a lot of Hay House, but there's like literally so many readers. Like I have boxes of books on all different types of subjects, a lot of them from Hay House and their teachers, and I just have no room in this office to. The only books I have are the ones that I use for mailing and the ones I'm working on, and that's it. That's all the books I have in this office. I don't have room for all the books that I want to use and that I use as resources, but it's just amazing to ask your guides for help if you're stuck. It's always good to ask, and help always appears. And there's something that you should always know. What happens is your answer. So if you say to your guides, hey, I want, is the guy that I'm dating, is he, we broke up, is he going to come back? I want to know if he comes back. And you're really hoping that he comes back because you miss him and whatever. And I need an answer in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, he doesn't come back. Well, that's what happened. That's your answer. I remember there was a little girl in Florida. I think it's a parable. I don't think it's a true story. And her parents asked her what she wanted for her birthday, and her birthday was in July, and she said, I want snow for Christmas. And of course it's in Florida. She's never going to get snow for Christmas. And then her birthday came and there wasn't any snow, and they asked her if she was disappointed, and she said, no, God sometimes says no. And that's just the way it is. So you always have to trust. So the two sayings I always like to have with me, Colette Baron Reed always says, what is meant for me will not pass me by. There you go. That actually struck me really good right here, right now, when I said that. What is meant, I'm going to repeat it. That's how powerful it felt in that moment for me. What is meant for me will not pass me by. So if there is something that is really destined for you, it won't pass you by. And the other thing is Robert Ohado's, again, I just repeated it, what happens is your answer. And he also has, and I think he's not the only one that says this, the universe has your back. There's a guy who wrote a book called Pronoia. I love this concept. It's a concept that everything is working in your favor. So paranoia is like everything's working against you. Pronoia is the belief that everything is working for you. So even if it seems bad, it's actually in your favor. So I really love that concept of pronoia. You can look him up too. He actually does astrology, which is a whole nother topic. We're not talking about that. But the idea of pronoia is really good. But pronoia actually works with this because you're trusting your guides, right? Like even in the back of this book Helene had on her book, you are not just a grain of sand in the sea of eternity. You are special in this vast universe. I mean, that says it all right there, right? And she wrote this book because she knew that it was really what she was destined to write. She wrote the Name It and Claim It game first because she knew to talk about some of these things, these topics weren't going to be well accepted, maybe, and it was maybe even more relevant in 1971 when she wrote her first book than it is today, because we're exposed to so many more things. And she even said her guides were like, this, you're not supposed to be writing this. And she's like, I know. But she kept going because she knew that she had to put it in the gift wrap of sweepstakes for people to hear that they needed to listen to their inner voice, that there were guides around them, that they were, more powerful beings in themselves than they thought. And this is the version that I got from her, right? Not the one I reprinted. And she had some stories in here, which I kept thinking, Helene, why are these stories in here? They're like way off base. She has two stories, one about a car accident and one about an operation. And they seem really out of place in this book. But the point is that she used her mind to help heal herself. And it was the exact same techniques that she used to win the prizes, right? And she did talk about one guide in that book, but it's kind of wrapped in gift wrap there. But this one, she comes straight out and talks about everything. She talks about thought forms, apparitions, levitating, and becoming invisible, which is really cool. So this isn't as thick as her other books, but it's so chock-a-block with stories that I think it's well worth reading. And so that's what I talked about Helene. I don't see any comments. I don't know if that means my feed isn't working properly or that nobody had any comments. So let me just check here and see if there's anything anybody has in here. And that's it. This was just a short chat. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick overview of the things I like to use on a daily basis. Before I go to sleep at night and as I'm waking up, I say, I guess you can call them prayers, meditations, affirmations. Sometimes I like to leave my headset by my bed. I usually plug my phone in across the room because I don't want to have it near me, but in case of emergency, because one time I left it off and then there was a family emergency, so I don't like to leave it off. So I leave it across the room so I'm not looking at it, and I keep it on vibrate so if there's something that happens. But I keep my headset there because sometimes in the morning I'll go up and I'll grab my phone, but instead of starting to scroll Instagram, I'll put a meditation on. Hay House has fantastic meditations you can get as podcasts. And so then I'll put my phone on, so I'm still kind of half asleep, and I put it on and I listen to the meditation. And when you're in that hypnagogic state, the hypnagogic state is right when you're kind of half asleep and half awake. Basically, it's when you're still kind of connected between heaven and earth. And that's the best time to do your affirmations, talk to your guides, ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for healing. Whatever it is going on in your life, that's the best time. So when you're waking up and as you're falling asleep, are great times to do that. So you could use some of Kyle's prayers, right? And, you know, so if you want to say to your angels before you go to sleep, show me in my dreams tonight. Thank you, angels, for revealing to me what I need to know tonight in my dreams. If you're struggling with something, and you can work it out in your sleep. So I think that's it for tonight. This was just a short and sweet video. And also maybe leave comments later about what other topics you'd like me to cover. I think there's some from the past I want to re-review because there's more to talk about. But anyway, I want to thank you for tuning into tonight's Good Vibes Chat. And feel free, like I said, to suggest future topics or guests. Because, you know, I could start bringing guests on here. That would be kind of cool. You can just leave a comment below or DM me. Thanks. Bye.